You're listening to WRUU-LP, Savannah, Georgia, 107.5 FM, community radio with a global soul. Also streaming online at savsoundings.org. That's SAVSOUNDINGS.org.
Check, check, 1, 2. Look like a little country. Some rock and roll and blues. 'Cause we sure love playing for good people like you. Let me know if you can hear me. Check, check, 1, 2.
Welcome to Music Local and Sustainable, the radio show that features discussions with and the music of local musicians. I am your host, Dave Lake. Tonight we are talking with Ray Lundy, blues guitarist and vocalist who is best known for his work as lead guitarist and vocalist for the band Bottles and Cans. Welcome, Ray Lundy.
I'm glad to be here. Thanks for having me, David.
So, why perform the blues?
Well, when I first heard blues music as a kid, my father introduced me to blues music, and it really struck a chord with me. It really resonated with me. I guess that's part of the reason why I just kind of feel it on the inside. That's what I really connect with. Yeah, I just really connected with that music from a very young age. The stories and the sound of it, and I really connected with that, and ultimately wanted to start learning how to play it and share it with other people.
Give us some insight into your musical journey to this point.
As a kid, I've always been musical, always had an ear for music. My grandmother played a little piano, and so I was kind of exposed to that as a kid. She'd play old songs. And then my father knew like 3 or 4 chords on the guitar. So actually, I first started learning some guitar stuff from him, which was interesting because he would play any song you would want to hear, whether it was How High the Moon or Blowing in the Wind, within those same 3 or 4 chords. Never anything all the way through, but he'd always play a little bit. So yeah, I started always enjoying music and listening to a lot of music. And then I guess it was around when I was a teenager, 16, 17, I discovered Bob Dylan and his music, and I started listening to him, and that really turned me on and got me interested in actually maybe playing guitar and trying to sing as well. So from there, listening to his stuff and his contemporaries and being curious about the people he listened to, and kind of tracing back some of those other artists, Woody Guthrie or Ramblin' Jack Elliott or Lead Belly and Muddy Waters, like that. Just picking up whatever I kind of could along the way. So much music out there. Always trying to keep my ears open, and then of course trying to get a little bit better at it as I went along. So I've kind of been musical all my life, but I didn't really start singing and playing until I was a teenager. And I really didn't get that serious about trying to make music for a living until I came to Savannah. And it's turned out that I've been able to do it here, more so than anywhere else I've ever lived. So that's why I stay here.
And when did you come to Savannah?
My bride and I moved out here in 2001. We moved out here from Las Vegas. Yeah, at first we weren't too sure about Savannah, but we got to know some of the people and some of the music scene that was going on. It was about 2002 that I went out and discovered Eric Culberson at one of his jam nights down at what used to be called Savannah Blues down in City Market. Went out there to the jam nights, and I wouldn't play, I wouldn't sit in. I was just kind of checking everything out. And then one night I finally got the courage to sign the list and see if I could go sit in. From there, sitting there with Eric that first night, we hit it right off. He appreciated what I was trying to do, and I was, of course, just amazed by him. Nicest guy in the world. Then he introduced me to his rhythm section, and that's how I started playing music with a band. So it started out, the guys, one of Mark was Mark Cordray, and the other one was Mike Walker. Yeah, so I started working with those guys at first and got my own little band together, and it was born right there in Savannah Blues. So it's pretty much Eric Culberson's fault, everything up to this point.
So what would you call your greatest musical influences?
Oh. Well, again, it goes right to Bob Dylan. Just amazing, just amazing. And right after him would have to be Howlin' Wolf. What an incredible performer and musician. To read about the man and his ways of doing things was just incredible to me. What a sound. Muddy Waters, of course. just phenomenal, just monsters of music, you know. They kind of taught right there, I mean, to me, I mean, I would say they taught almost everybody how to really do it, you know. But of course, there's other influences I picked up along the way too. Other stuff that I liked that was kind of weird and different. Like discovered Neil Young, and he was a knockout. You know, to this day, I would say as far as a songwriter, lyrically, he's right there next to Bob Dylan for me in my tastes anyway. Jerry Garcia, the Grateful Dead, and the stuff those guys did was just amazing to me. Really opened up a whole world of music right there, and fun adventure. Got caught up in following those guys around for a little while when I was a kid too. But nowadays, I think I'm influenced probably just as much by all the other local musicians that I get to hang out with and kind of share some camaraderie with. Fortunate to know so many amazing players, and that there's so many that is right here in this little town. The Savannah music scene is just incredible right now. It's more, I think, and well, I'm going to get a difference of opinion, but it's better now than it ever was. When I started here and I first got my band going 10 years ago, there wasn't a whole lot going on. It was pretty good. There was some things going on. Of course, there's amazing players. But now, man, it's more than ever. We've got so many venues. Well, we got more bars that'll have bands than we do actual venues. We have bars that feature bands and restaurants that might have live music too. But man, we got a lot of them. And there's a lot of music lovers in town. Of course, we ain't getting rich, but there's places for us to play, and there's people that do appreciate that. That's an amazing thing to have, you know, especially in a town this size. I could probably go on and on about influences. I mean, gosh.
Howlin' Wolf is probably one of the most underappreciated artists by the general public, but is probably one of the most appreciated artists by musicians. It's really interesting that you mentioned him. I'm always reminded of Sam Phillips of Sun Records, and his attitude was that Howlin' Wolf was the greatest musician he'd ever heard. Yeah. Man, Sam was one of the lucky ones to actually be in the studio with that guy when it and to cut Smokestack Light. And I mean, that was a red letter day, I'd say, in Sam's journal. But yeah, just incredible, the sound and the way his approach to doing music and having his own sound. Just amazing. But when I heard that, I said, hey, I want to sound like that guy. Now, that guy knows what he's talking about. That's it. That'll catch your ear, you know. Do you cover any Howlin' Wolf songs?
Sure, a little bit. There's a version of How Many More Years that I like to play with the guys. Well, how many more years I gotta let your dog me wrong? Tell me how many more years I gotta let your dog me wrong. Whoa, baby, I'd rather be dead 6 feet on the ground. And I'll fall on my knee, I'll raise my right hand. I'll fall on my knee, I'll raise my right hand. I can feel so much better if you just try to understand. Well, how many more years you gonna drive me wild? Tell me how many more years I gotta let you drive me wild. Whoa, baby, you got me crying like a natural little child.
Well, now I'm going upstairs, and I'm bringing back down all my clothes. And I'm going upstairs, and I'm bringing back down all my clothes. She said, get them all. Anybody ask about me, you can just tell them that I went outdoors. That's right. The money's gone.
Yeah, that's really nice.
Yeah, you know, there's the single that was released, of course, more like a shuffle, kind of moves along. But I heard another version of him doing an alternate take, and I said, man, that's the one right there. I want to do something kind of like that. Yeah, great stuff.
You also mentioned Bob Dylan. What about Bob Dylan do you find inspirational?
Oh my gosh, where you begin? Well, as a songwriter, just amazing, just amazing with the lyric. And his sense of a lot of the old American music, and taking all his influences and be able to use all these things and put them together into some great tunes is just amazing to me. Of course, his voice also to me and to this day is just fantastic. I think he's been getting better and better, you know. But to hear him, the way he would do what he did, the way he would deliver his songs. In a way, I mean, it's original. In a way, it's not. I think Johnny Cash referred to him as he's just another mountain hillbilly type singer, the way he's singing. It's a real, just a raw, natural kind of delivery, I think. And that might have came from the Woody Guthrie influence, the Ramblin' Jack Elliott influences. You know, you don't really try to pretty it up so much. Just tell the story. You got the melody there, and there's a beat, and then tell the story and get it out there, and be honest about it, mean it. And I think he's always held true to that, to my ears.
Do you ever cover any Bob Dylan songs?
Oh, sure. You know, some of the first songs I ever learned. I mean, I learned to play guitar by listening to his early albums. I'd be there in my bedroom, you know, I'd get out of school, come home, pick up my guitar, and try to play along with him and figure out what he was doing. Even my strumming pattern to this day is still based on, you know, his style of doing stuff. There and just try to learn his tunes and then try to figure out how to sing them my own way. And that's one thing that I learned from Dylan is he did not sound like anybody else to me. And from what I heard at that time, maybe I can do that too. Maybe I can not quite sound like anybody else and I can have my own voice. But I guess, I don't know, I'm full of inconsistencies because I want to tell everybody about Howlin' Wolf and I want to sound like him too, you know what I mean? Sound like Howlin' Wolf, but with lyrics like Bob Dylan? Yeah, let me do that. So, and they've been letting me get away with it in this town for all these years now. That's pretty much it. The cat's out of the bag. That's my secret. So,
well, it's a great combination. Would you like to do a Dylan song?
A Dylan song. Gosh, one all the way through. They could get lengthy.
As much as you'd like to do.
Let's see. How about
when your mother sends back all of your invitations and your father to your sisters he explains that you're tired of yourself and all of your creations. Won't you come and see me, Queen Jane? Won't you come and see me, Queen Jane. Even all the flower ladies want back what they've lent you. And the smell of the roses does not remain. And all of your children start to resent you. Won't you come and see me, Queen Jane? Won't you come and see me, Queen Jane? Dirty bandits, you've turned your other cheek to. They all lay down gray bandanas and complain. And you want somebody you don't have to speak to. Won't you come and see me, Queen Jane? Won't you come and see me, Queen Jane?
Yeah. Again, in the interest of time, I left out like 8 or 9 verses. That's a long one too. But again, what imagery and what wild things are going on in that guy's songs are just fantastic to me. Yeah, I think the first Bob Dylan song I ever heard was the ballad of Frankie Lee and Judas Priest, and I sat down, and a friend of mine, he said, "You got to hear this guy. You're gonna love this," you know. And went over to his house and he dropped the needle on Frankie Lee and Judas Priest. And I think that was just sitting there listening to that song was probably my first psychedelic experience. I mean, it just knocked me out. The whole crazy story. And the guy is talking his way through it, but it all rhymes and it's all musical. I'd never heard anything like that. Just knocked me out. So yeah, I've been hooked ever since. Yeah.
So one of the things that you do in your sets is you don't play songs that everybody else plays. It seems like you try to be a little bit unique in terms of the song selection.
A little bit different, yeah. If we usually go for like maybe the B-sides or the more something else that was maybe off an album, you know, or it's another great song. Well, yeah, and again, playing the blues, man. I mean, there's some other fantastic blues bands in town, but we all don't need to be doing the same songs. At least that's the way I see. If this band down the street is playing Stormy Monday, and that's a standard for a lot of the other bands, then I've always felt that's maybe one to stay away from. And there's got to be something else that we could do instead. Slow blues, okay, we'll do a slow blues, you know. We get a lot of requests, hey, play some Stevie Ray Vaughan. Like, well, no. Why? Because there's guys around the corner that are playing Stevie Ray Vaughan, and so I just leave that stuff to them. I said, we will try to play something that might be like that, or somewhere in that neighborhood. If that's the kind of sound you're talking about, then we'll try to do something like that and keep everybody happy. But yeah, we don't base it so much on trying to really cater to the crowds so much. I mean, we're trying to entertain ourselves up there as a band and keep each other happy and sounding good and kind of challenging each other as we're going and just trying to make it sound as good. And if people like that, or they don't like it, if they like you anyway and you won't play Stormy Monday for them, well, then it should be all right. But then some folks, it doesn't matter. No matter how good you sound or what you're doing, if you don't play the song they want to hear, then you suck. So, but yeah, trying to be a little bit different. And again, it's blues is blues. But fortunately, there's a lot of material out there to draw from. It's pretty deep well.
This is probably related. One of the things you always say is that you don't want to play what's on the radio.
I don't know. Not very been into popular music so much. There's some great popular songs out there, but there's so many other songs that are out there too. Part of the journey for music is actually looking for more of it. I mean, I don't know, David, I'm really out of touch. I don't listen to radio now. I don't know who's doing what nowadays or what's popular or anything, because I'm always looking into the classics. That's where I go. When I want to hear something good something new to me that I haven't heard before, I go for the classics, because that's where all the real quality is. There's something to learn from that, I think. Still trying to learn what that is. But as we go, that's where I've always been drawn to. And with blues music, tradition of American blues music, folk music, even country music, is maybe borrowing something from here and something from there, and then putting your own signature on it too, doing it in your own way, and then you got something new. Something new, but to still be within the tradition of American music. I really like that a lot. Yeah.
That is a real advantage. You have from the 1920s all the way up to now, almost the 2020s.
Right.
Of a century of music to play.
Mm-hmm. Right. Well, yeah. Everybody's got to kind of find their own style and their own niche. And I think as we get older as musicians, or in any kind of creative endeavor, we change and we grow and we get seasoned and we get wizened as we go. So we're always kind of changing. Like Bob Dylan, the guy who reinvented himself, and it was changing from album to album, sound pretty different from the previous recording. I think that happens to all of us as we get older, that we kind of evolve.
You're right. Bob Dylan is a very unique individual, and he seeks out old but new. A couple of most recent albums that I'm familiar with are from about 3 years ago. He did a Christmas album.
Yeah.
And then this past year, he's done an album of basically what I would call classic American songbook.
Right.
Which is a very unique approach.
I don't think any of us saw that one coming. But I got to tell you, he did a cut off that new album the last time I saw him here in Savannah. And man, he's got a great band as always, and he's singing them and playing them great. Yeah, I don't think anybody saw that coming, but I think it was great to see him cover those songs and kind of pay homage, I guess. It's really about you feel the connection to the music and to the other players, and to be a part of that same root of American music. It's a special feeling. It's incredibly important to be a part of that, if you can, and to keep that going and to share it with the people. And I like the idea of sharing old songs with people they might not have heard before, and that they're out there. So I like that aspect of it.
Can we hear one of those B-sides?
Like a weird old tune?
Like a weird old tune.
I think this is a Bo Carter number. We'll see.
The preacher told, he said it was so. He don't preach about nothing but jelly roll, and he calls that religion. He called that religion. Yeah, he called that religion, but he gone to hell when he died. I went to church last night. I was happy as I could be. The preacher kept on trying to take my wife from me, and he calls that religion. He like to call that religion. Yeah, he called that religion, but he gone to hell when he died. Old Deacon Jones, he was a preaching man, but they caught him down the alley trying to shake that thing, and he calls that religion. He like to call that religion. He called that religion, but he gone to hell when he died. preacher talk. He says it's God's command. He just get folks fussing and fighting all over this land. And he calls that religion. He calls that religion. Who he call that religion, but he going to hell when he dies.
Oh yeah, there's so many good songs out there.
Yeah, you just don't hear them on the radio, so it's kind of nice to be able to bring them out live, you know. Have my way with them, and then be able to sing them. It's a lot of fun. Yeah.
And we don't hear them much live.
Yeah, and that's too bad. We've got an incredible amount of American folk songs, and nobody's really playing them anymore. One of the reasons I haven't joined any folk society is because they have singers come in most cases, that are singing their own songs. And they're not singing any folk songs, but they're called folk singers and they're called folk artists. And to me, that's not correct. If you're singing your own songs and they show up, they want to bring you to their town for the folk society, you're a singer-songwriter, you know, that's different. I don't think there's anything wrong with people singing an old song or someone else's song. If it's a singer-songwriter type society, then just have it be that. But if it's going to be a folk society, then let's have some real folk players and some real folk songs going on. It was good enough for Pete Seeger. Utah Phillips. But again, there's not enough. It would be nice to see more of that. People getting together and having some food and some drinks and singing songs together, enjoying music together. Of course, I can't sing just any song. I gotta connect with it. I gotta feel like, hey, I can mean that. That grabs me. I could tell that story. If I don't really mean it or I don't really connect with it, it's not going to sound so good.
I'd like to follow up on something you just said. You say that you have to get into the song. The song has to have meaning to you.
Yeah.
What are the features of a song that you can, quote, get into or that has meaning for you?
Well, it's going to be what the song is saying, what the song is about, the angle that the singer is coming from. And of course, then there's the marriage of the music and the lyric. When those come together, and they can come together in such a great way, that'll really get your attention too. That gets my attention. Sometimes it just like a little alarm or a bell goes off in my head, and when you hear a certain song, like, man, that's something. There's songs I love, but I haven't learned them. But then there's songs I loved, it's almost like I knew them almost. It's like they were they were ready to be learned. There was almost, I'm not, trying to talk about predestination or anything, but man, you get that feeling, and when it's good, or when it feels good anyway. Maybe there's a lot of songs that I've learned that I really feel that I love and enjoy, and I love singing them, that nobody else really likes them. But so maybe that's the case. I guess really first and foremost, I'm singing, well, for me, trying to do it as good as I can there, and hopefully somebody else will like it.